This is my Centipede Sprint 7. So from last week you asked me why the player manager would ever need to deactivate a player. So my player manager no longer deactivates players, it just gets the active player. And then it'll swap the active player whenever I'm able to implement player 2 if I have enough time. If not, I don't think I'll be able to even have a 2-player system. But for now it just sets the active player. You also told me that the scene shouldn't create the players, that's the job of the player manager. So now the player manager on construction is the one who creates player 1 and 2, and then sets the active player right away to player 1 and assigns their respective mushroom fields. You also said that the how to text was not scaled properly, so I went in and scaled that using the cell width of the sprite sheet to be 2 times its normal size, so I can run this here and it'll be scaled properly. So as you can see, the zeros up top, they're scaled just fine. They take up the same cells as the mushrooms and all the other sprites. So that's good. You also said that the score manager shouldn't have to know which player is active. It should just call the add score function on whoever is active at the time. So I changed that in my score manager. All it does now is say player manager add a score, and then it passes in the score it needs to. And then also for the spider, distance times that score. And then in the player manager, that's who knows who the active player is, so it calls add score on the active player. And then inside of that player is where the actual score is updated. So we can see here in player, add score, it just adds a score, and then it updates the high score. If its current score is greater than the current high score, then it'll update the high score to match that new score. So I'll show that in a bit. I did add a working updated high score. I don't have a wave manager or wave data in the past sprint, so now I have a wave manager that reads a text file for however many lines there are, and then it assigns that data to a wave data object. It passes in the string of the line. So if we go over into wave data, it's all of the member variables that a wave needs to be aware of. So if we go into wave data, it parses the string that's passed in from the line in the file. It converts it using string stream to whatever data type it should be, so either an integer or a float. So if I go here, you can see the wave data.text. It's not foolproof, so it'll mess up very, very easily if it's changed in any way that it shouldn't be. But there are equal signs separating the waves and spaces to separate labels and actual numbers. So I can run this, and then you'll see down in the output, it'll write a line to the console saying whichever wave has this spawn rate and this centipede length. So I'll run this right now. And then I'll see at the bottom wave 3 has a centipede. Oh, that's scroll wheel. I need to change that. Wave 3 has a scorpion spawn rate of 7.5. Wave 5 has a centipede length of 8. So we'll go over here, wave 5, centipede length 8. Wave 3 has a spawn rate of 7.5. So if I change this to say 2.5, and then I run this again, that spawn rate should now be 2.5. So there you go, spawn rate of 2.5. So I have that working. And then something else from this sprint is the updated HUD display. So I'll spawn in a spider so I can get a score and also update the high score along with it. So I'll leave the spider in here. Hopefully I'll get it right now on the first try. There you go, so I killed it a little before it went off screen. So since I was super close to the spider, I got the 900 points, and then I also reflected that high score in the 900. So the way that that's working, if I go into the HUD, it's probably not as efficient as it can be, but what it really does is just ask the score manager as a singleton. It asks it if there's it asks it to get the high score and also the current score, which this shouldn't be get active player. I should change this to just be get score because the player manager should know who's active anyway. But I'll just say get the high score and then add that to the list of glyphs and then just update it respectively. So I have the HUD updating whenever the score is higher than the high score of the current player. And then, let's see what else I have to show. The Centipede, before I never actually had it stay in the player zone. But now I finally have it to stay there and loop properly. It'll stay within the player zone once it reaches it. The thing I don't have yet is still the splitting. The splitting is still causing me a bunch of errors. So let me get rid of that spider really quick. So regardless of what I do for splitting, it's still not working, so I'm wondering if I should kind of work my way around that by making a list of heads, even though it's really inefficient. But I do want to find a way to just have that data passed down, because I'd much rather have that version of the Centipede than one that doesn't pass information down. So the splitting seemed to work okay there, but after the second split, if I do anything else, it'll just crash. And I have a bunch of checks to make sure it's not null or anything, but it's still crashing on me. But I think I'm okay for now. My wave manager doesn't actually spawn the waves because I just barely made my enemy spawner, which the wave manager will call based on the data that I pass in from the file. But I do have the file reading. I have my wave data class, so I should be able to get back up to speed in terms of that, and then hopefully get a game loop, and then really, besides just the game loop and some of the extra features, the Centipede split is the only thing I need to finalize, and then I should be good I should be on track for the final submission. So thank you for watching.